Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Still Speaks video, but you already knew that because you were so smart. And speaking of the smartest people, only the smartest people have hit that subscribe button, and they rang that bell, and they turned on all notifications, so you can be part of the hottest whatever video I am posting action that this channel has to offer. Seriously, it's free for you and means the world to me. And also, check out my band's music, click the link down below. It really helps me out. So guys, moving on, we are doing something very different. So let's get right into it. Hot 4X action made by the lead developer of Civilization 4 and off-world trading company Old World is a 4X turn-based strategy game set in antiquity in the Mediterranean and the Middle East. Old World was developed by Mohawk Games, Soren Johnson's indie game studio, and was originally an Epic Games exclusive, but has now come out on Steam and GOG with a new DLC called Heroes of the Aegean. If you don't know who Soren Johnson is, he's the lead developer of Civilization 4. I mentioned him earlier, so Old World's development was in good hands. Also, Old World gets updated regularly with balancing and other improvements. So, full disclosure, I received Old World and the DLC for free from Hooded Horse, their publisher. I figured I'd be transparent with my review just so you know. Old World boasts 8 playable starting civilizations with the new DLC that all have unique technologies, families, and units. You could play as Assyria, Babylonia, Carthage, Egypt, Greece, Persia, Rome, and the new one, Haiti or Hattie. You know what? I haven't looked up how to pronounce that, so comment down below how to pronounce that properly. I'm going to say Hattie, Haiti. I'm going to go with one of those two. So maybe you might have better luck at that than me. The unit types appear to be true to history, with units like Greece's Hoplite and Rome's Legionaries. There's more than just that, so you got to play the game to see that for yourself. Every turn counts as a year, so you must make each year count because all the characters age and eventually die, and you only get about 200 turns per game. So if you look in your player's portrait, all of your entire court, you look at their portrait, you could watch them slowly age as each turn goes by. I find that to be a very interesting and fun, what would you call that, feature. The characters are actual historical people who existed, so you have to be absolutely sure your leader has an heir, and that heir has an heir of their own to continue the line. If not, the game is over, so be sure you marry your kid off as soon as possible. So yeah, you want to make sure that line does not end. If it does, game over for you. Unless you can make your brother or nephew your successor. I don't know, I haven't tried that. That might be a way you could get around it, but I recommend you marrying off your kid and trying to get them to have an heir. I had my people breeding like rabbits because that's something you need to do. I told you, it was hot 4X action. Another interesting thing is the politics with the families influencing each other for power. Each of the families have unique bonuses that change how your game is played, so be sure to do your best by keeping them happy. Your family members and court members could be upset with you, and you don't want that, or you could just throw them in jail, whatever, or influence them until they love you. That works too. You could also make them a governor or a general, maybe that'll improve their opinion of you. You should probably assign the most capable court member, so enjoy that. In all seriousness, you assign your court members to tasks like an ambassador to try and establish trade with a neighboring civilization. Or you could piss them off by demanding tribute. That's a quick way to go to war. There's also a spy system where you could send a spy on a mission to possibly assassinate your opponent's civilization's ruler. Just pray that doesn't fail because they'll be looking for revenge. Like all 4X games, this one has the resources at the top so you can manage them at a glance. You have to build farms for food, quarries for stone, etc., etc. Old World does a decent job at telling you how much a potential farm or quarry would yield on a tile if it were to be built on it. Be sure to watch how much you're producing and spending each year, or you'll be in big trouble if you run out of something you need. Another thing you want to pay attention to is having your workers cut down trees each turn. If you don't do that, you'll have trouble getting wood without trading. So have at least one worker cutting down trees constantly. And be sure not to clear the land, because if you want the trees to regrow, you can't have the land cleared. If you really, really need the wood that turn, and if you're willing to give up that forest, go for it. However, I recommend against it because you want those trees to regrow and you want to constantly be getting that wood. Whenever you do, remember to expand and take as many cities as you could afford to, because you know your opponents will be. Definitely, they will be. Old World has a unique technology system with cards that pop up so you could go down a certain tech tree. Remember, religion is fairly strong, and you will need a strong culture to get some of the more powerful units, to build the more powerful structures, to get the more powerful units. That's what I meant. But free units are pretty sweet too with the whole card system. Sometimes you get a free unit there. So you gotta really weigh your options, what you want to what you need. So definitely think about that. And there's also an event system. I'm not going to give that away very much, but it exists, so be sure to pay attention. Sometimes a family member becomes, I don't know, starts becoming greedy or something, and they start having a different stat because they're greedy. Or maybe they're really, really lucky or smart or something, so they get a positive stat. It happens, or somebody gets sick. It's happened many times I played this game. My ruler gets sick, especially as they get older. You notice them getting sick more and more. You just got to pray for that miracle that they don't die immediately. And there's also a really good tutorial that shows you how to play the game, and it's definitely worth getting into to learn the mechanics of Old World. Another extremely fun and interesting thing that Old World has to offer are their historical scenarios. They get you right into the action without having to build up your civilization too much. So if you want to experience the battles really quick, especially the historical battles, you could do it. The Heroes of Aegean DLC, I really enjoyed that one. The Persians came to invade Greece, and you had to go get the help from Sparta, and you had to fight them off. Being a 4X game, of course, the combat is turn-based. It's really fun, it's well done, and it's fairly polished. I have to say, I enjoyed my time with the combat. It's always a good idea to have a combination of melee and ranged troops. I like to soften up my enemies with some siege equipment or archers before I sent in my melee boys. Remember, your mounted troops have an ability known as Rout, and that lets you to pass through a defeated unit to another tile where you could attack again. If your mounted troops keep hitting your enemy units, then they could chain route and do lots of damage to your enemies. That was always fun. Always have melee units protecting your ranged troops. You gotta keep them safe because they're not so good at hand-to-hand combat. Of course, if you have a strategy that uses your ranged troops as bait or what have you, feel free to do it, but keeping them protected is something you might want to do. Another thing I enjoyed doing was having at least 2 melee units attack each side of a single enemy unit. I don't think they like that very much. Also notice melee units counterattack for 1 HP of damage. Old World music is phenomenal. It brought me back to my old college days, back when I was taking a music history course. It brought me back to when I was studying music of antiquity. Definitely, it's something you should experience yourself because music is, of course, subjective, but to me, I thought it was phenomenal and amazing. Overall, Old World is a good time, and it's worth it if you're into hot 4X action. If you're into 4X games, this is the game for you. If you're a fan of Civilization, this game is definitely for you. Also, with the Steam release, the Heroes of Aegean DLC is free for the first 2 weeks if you buy it. You could try the new Civilization out for yourself and the Heroes of Aegean DLC scenarios. They are very fun. Old World gets the seal of approval from Still Speaks and is a must-play for Civilization fans. Let me know what you think about Old World in the comment section down below. You thinking about getting it? Let me know. And guys, a big thank you to my patrons, Alpha Hex and Sapphire High Noon Yasuho. You guys mean the world to me. Thank you so, so much. And be sure to share with your friends, family, and foes because you need something interesting to watch as well. And as always, everyone, G.